You do a little bit of Trump with your hands sometimes.
Oh, dude, yeah. Trump does a little bit of me with his hands.
The Trump hands.
I was with a group today, and I said, have you been to Ireland? And I said, yeah, I've been to Ireland. I actually hope Trump goes after Ireland next. I'd like to acquire Ireland. Part of our country. It's such a beautiful country. Let's make it our 53rd state. They don't like the Brits anyway, so let's go. Ireland, you're with us now. And you don't even have to give us permission. We're going to take you.
Yep.
We're going to come put a flag there.
I'm just going to post only that. That's the whole thing.
That's the whole podcast.
That's the whole podcast.
It is very rare that you find a pastor who is actually also a stand-up comedian. And so before we do anything, I do just want to say, too, there are a few people that I would label like a genius. And I do have to say, I think this man actually is listen, the way that you communicate, the way you put jokes and put stuff together, I love it because it's something that I aspire to be able to do, right? With magic, with comedy, and then with a message that actually matters. I've seen you do that more beautifully than probably anyone. And I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, man, if there's anyone doing like what I want to be doing.
Oh. Well, man, I've seen you do it. You're the one that weaves that story in.
Yeah, you've never been to my show.
I have seen you now 3 times.
No, that's true. That's
do
true.
what you do in different settings. I couldn't afford your show.
Well, so yeah, I was like begging him to come to my show for everything. Yeah, I'll be there. And then just Did you say coupons? I didn't give you coupons.
Yeah. Clay gives me free tickets. Clay Cooper gives me free tickets.
I'm like, Ted, I love you. You're so inspiring. You should come to my show.
Have we started?
I'll give you half off. Well, I mean, we don't really have a start. We just started.
It's recording.
Ready to go. Welcome to the Dustin Tavella.
No, we don't do this
podcast show.
I don't do anything.
Okay, all right, okay.
It's not really organized. So I did have like some fun questions, and they might want to chime in with some questions. But I love having like questions for pastors, and one thing that we realize in our culture is there are a lot of people who are like afraid of going to church, right? And then you have people who like love going to church. And I feel like as a pastor, you're constantly trying to find the balance of creating a space for both, right? You want everybody. You're not going to be for everyone. But like you want to know that the person who's been like, I haven't been to church in 15 years, but I came to Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
It's like, impress me, right?
Yeah.
And then the person who's been like, I've been in church 30 years, I'm going to pick apart. You wear hoodies to preach?
Yeah, not all the time. Not all the time. Like every 6 weeks.
You have it scheduled out. You dress for each demographic.
You know what I do on my birthdays now? My birthdays, I make grand declarations. So like 3 years ago, I decided I would never eat zucchini again. I hate zucchini. It's slimy.
You
I
made
don't
a
like
declaration
the
to not eat something that you
and
hate.
I haven't had zucchini in 3 years.
But you hate it. Why do you have to?
And then 2 years ago, 2 years.
Hold on,
I'll never eat again. Wait, then 2 years ago, my declaration was I will never tie shoes again. So I only did slip-on shoes. This past January, my birthday, I made the decision I would only wear black hoodies, and it's pretty much every day. I'm nailing it pretty much every day.
But hold on,
What happens when summer comes in?
And so my family waits for my birthday every year. What is the grand declaration?
Wait, what do
this
you do
year?
for summer?
You wear it during summertime
wear
too?
your-
No, they have more of those Lululemon lighter ones.
Oh,
that
he's
are a
got
little
the
like
bougie
half
like
the
hoodie.
fabric.
white, like not
They're a
thick
little
at
more-
all.
yeah.
I can't get past number one. Usually people make declarations to stop eating something they like.
That's
I'm
what
like,
Amy says.
I'm going to
You
stop
should-
eating Oreos. I'm not like, I'm going to stop
I would
eating
never.
anchovies. I'm going to stop eating mole. Stop eating, like,
Well, I was getting close to 50 years old. I'm like, why should I eat something I don't want to eat anymore? I hate it. And when you cook it, overcook it, and it's mushy. And
So I was thinking for church advice, but this is great, like New Year's resolution advice.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a New Year's resolution, just quit something you already don't like, and you will succeed every time.
Yep.
You know what, this year, I'm not going to the gym. I'm not working out. I'm not eating salads.
You got it.
I'm not budgeting. I'm done budgeting.
You
And
got
this is why your church is seeker friendly, because you just tell people what they want to hear. This is
Now, listen, you brought up you have the person wants to be there, the person that doesn't want to be there.
yeah.
And years ago, I got an email from a guy. I mean, he was mad. He said, I was driving down the strip. A guy cut me off. And we got in a little road rage. And I followed him for a while. I followed him all the way into your church parking lot. So it was a Sunday morning. I watched him park, get out, and go in. And I parked, and I was going to go in. And his plan was to pull this guy out.
Pull out of the church?
Yep. And go to fisticuffs with him. And so he did. He came in. Denise Bevins at the time, she stops him. Like, what are you doing here? And he tells her and Matt. So anyway, he goes home, sends me an email. And it was basically a speed of the leader, speed of the team. I can't believe people at your church behave like that guy did on the road.
Because
And so I
it's your
invited him.
responsibility how people drive.
Exactly. I invited him to
Wow.
Panera Bread the next morning, and we met. And I asked him a question that he just was like, you can tell he hadn't thought. This is what I always want to tell people when you go to church. Adjust your expectations, because he assumes everybody that walks into a church is a believer. Like, he assumes and I said, how do you know that wasn't his first time there?
Yeah.
And his mom said, hey, I want you to join me at church today.
Yeah.
And he was late, and he was racing to get there.
Yeah.
I said, I think too many people show up thinking everybody in there is church people,
Yeah.
behaving like church people.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm glad he's there. We had our starting point class last night. I said, hey, if you get flipped off in the parking lot, we're glad they're there.
Yeah.
That's where we want them. You smell marijuana on Sunday morning. Be glad that person's there. Like, you should be
that's good.
embracing that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it's funny too, because when you think about the culture of people who put everything on the pastor, you have this guy who's mad at you, like, you let people like this in the church. He's trying to fight the dude, and the dude who's showing up for the first time is like, you let people who want to fight people in your church, like, everyone's mad at you, and you didn't. You showed up.
yeah,
to preach.
why'd we break that up? Now that I think about it, we should have seen what happened.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, and I think this is good. And some of the stuff that I wanted to talk through a bit is maybe some things for first-time churchgoers, right? Because I think this is already a good start. Is if you're going to go to church for the first time, don't judge the entire church based off of who parked next to you, right? Because you don't know where that person came from.
Yeah.
I know, for me, like when I was young, my parents started going to church. Our family was a mess, and there's so many things that you learn not only about God and about Jesus, but about church culture, right? You start stepping into different churches, you start realizing they're very different.
Yeah.
But like, is there something that you would say to someone who's like, man, you know what? I'm finally doing this. I've been pushing off church for a long time. Finally going it. What's like the...
Yeah. And I always tell people, you can never, ever make a decision off of one visit. Or two,
100%.
or 3 or 4. Actually, a church in Austin, Texas that I just visited, the pastor every January does a 4-week challenge. And he asks new people, give us 4 Sundays.
Wow.
You'll get a better
That's good.
understanding of who we are after 4 Sundays.
Yeah.
Because 1, you could have a guest speaker. 2, they may have to have a family talk.
Yeah.
Whereas I have something I have to address, and this affects our church family, people that call this home, knowing we may, in Woodland Hills, have hundreds of tourists, that don't really,
Which is
fit
another
into
thing that I guess I never thought about that. That gives you an extra thing to think about now, because your first time people are people who are coming to a place ready to be entertained already, right?
Yeah.
They're here on vacation.
Yeah.
Never thought about that.
So we kind of put the emphasis on being a local church. From the very beginning, 23 years ago, we said we are going to target locals. We're grateful when the tourists show up. We're grateful when other people are there, and always enjoy engaging with them and having conversations with them. But we want people visiting, like, hey, give it some time. And in last night, I even said, because you have some people that show up with their books and their CDs, and they need you to know about what they do, and they need to see how they're going to fit their agenda into the church. And I always tell them, and last night I felt this with a couple people, so I said, hey, tonight we're inviting you to take a step, not all the steps. Like, some of you want to be an elder, and you haven't, you've been here 3 weeks. So like take a step, and that's, I give that advice to new people all the time. There's no rush.
Yeah.
Like, there's no jump in here and you're in charge.
Yeah.
Like, get to know us. Let us get to know you. This is how friendships form and how family grows. And so,
no, it's great.
Yeah.
We went to a church in California where there was this old guy there. He was hilarious, and he just wanted to be involved in everything. He thought he was an elder. Like, they would say, hey, we're gonna have the elders come. Bro,
I got 100 of
dude,
those.
he would walk to the front, and they didn't have the heart to tell him he wasn't an elder. They would say, hey, can we have leadership come up? He would come up. Hey, can we have the prayer team
Oh,
come
that's
up?
board,
awesome.
no, the board.
That is
Yeah, when
great.
he went and they called up the board, he was standing up there with all the board members.
He's so
They couldn't
sweet.
tell him.
Oh, I love that, though.
just
I
a
love that
sweet-
your church embraced that.
They
to be
were
like,
so sweet.
we'll go with it.
Yeah.
Until he
man.
starts giving really bad advice.
Yeah.
People
Oh, they
start-
don't let him talk.
Yeah, don't give him a
Shipwrecking
mic.
their lives. Well, I talked to your elder. He's not really.
Yeah. So for me, when I think of like church stuff, because there's sometimes when I know that we have a friend that's going to go to church, and we know the church they're going to, and it's like, when I was young, one of the first things that I learned that I need to do always, and I think I might have said this to you before, but I just always needed to have like at least 2 mints in my pocket because I find myself going to these church services, and it was like, you just never know who's going to pray for you or like what's going to happen. And no matter how like non-charismatic a church is, right? No matter how reserved, there's always that one lady who just smells like, she hasn't brushed her teeth since like the early 2000s, and she's like Liam Neeson, like, I will find you, I will pray for you. So this is my advice to people who are coming to church for the first time.
Bring mints.
Bring it both for yourself, because you can't offer someone a mint without, like, if I just said, hey dude, you should have a mint, but if I eat one and I'm like, hey dude, want one?
And I have learned, I travel with prepackaged mints because I love Altoids. They're my favorite.
Yeah.
But then you open them to someone and they're like, I'm going to touch every single one of them to get the one that I want.
This
so
is
I do prepackaged lifesavers.
Everyone's looking at me like, why is Dustin talking about mints? Mints are a big thing in the church.
Sure.
But I'm grateful.
And you're
because-
definitely not worshiping to this is the air I breathe.
That's not.
This is the air I breathe.
It's good though because
I won't be back.
Wait, just so you know, they made a new Altoid thing because I was at a prayer meeting last night.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they made a new one because my girlfriend offered me one, and I'm the dummy that stuck my finger in it.
If
and
you
it
ever
was
get
like-
offered the whole tin, that's because you were inappropriate with the mints. I don't need you touching all of them to get
like,
your mint
actually,
out.
just take the whole
come
thing.
on, just take it.
Look, I've never left the
$4.
church because of this, but
Okay.
I have super ADHD. Okay, I'm like hyper aware of the things that I shouldn't be paying attention to.
Right.
And so this does. So maybe this would be my advice for people with ADHD. I like how you're like wondering if you can laugh at this because there's a lady in your church right now, probably, most likely. I
Well,
don't
you're
know.
dealing with something. A bigger issue for me is just the person who gets too close. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
maybe that's the thing. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. I like a little. I have a little personal space.
But that's what I'm saying. Most people probably would. But look, I'm just saying that if you find yourself in this situation,
Yeah.
it's good to be prepared.
Yeah, I agree.
With 2 mints, one for
do.
you, one is,
Yeah.
oh, do you want
We
one
have.
too?
If you go in our church, we have a cylinder that's about
yeah.
that tall.
Yeah, I love that.
Full of mints.
I'm telling you, mints are a thing at church.
We have a guy in our church that he's older and advanced in years, and I can tell he's slowing down. Comes in every Sunday, kid you not, and fills both pockets. Like we've supplied him for the week.
He also thinks he's on the board.
Every time I walk by the welcome desk, the lady's got that bag of lifesavers going like this.
She's filling it back.
I mean, people, we go through bags, and not just for the day.
Yeah.
It's- yeah.
That is hilarious, dude. Real quick, just like a little history, just so you guys know. The first time I went to Woodland Hills, I was like, this guy is amazing. His communication style is incredible. Your jokes are hilarious, but it's not just jokes just to be jokes. Because some pastors they want to be comedians, but there's like, it still needs to be substance. And
Yeah.
this is what I think you blend so beautifully. And then we felt like we were supposed to start a church at our house. And I was like, oh man, like I was really hoping to keep going to his church and I wanted to meet you and become friends. And I'm like, God, how are we ever going to meet this guy now? And I'm like mad, even though I know we're supposed to be doing this thing, pouring into the people who've been
Free
in our
tickets
lives.
to your show. would
Yeah,
work.
that's why you never.
You give me a
I meant
coupon.
my-
We ain't gonna be friends.
But it was crazy because then I got booked for a job, Southern Baptist Convention, right? Like 5,000 pastors at this thing and their families. And they're saying, okay, Dustin, before, on the stage, we have to make sure we make time also for Ted Cunningham. I'm like, oh, that name sounds familiar. And then I realized, I was like, wait, that's the dude from Woodland Hills. And then I go into the green room and you're sitting in the green room. I'm like, this is so much better than meeting at church. We just got booked for the same job.
Yeah.
And that was where we actually like met for the first time.
Yeah.
And you're awesome, man. We became quick friends.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
we became friends.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I was
It
making
depends on how this goes.
Well, because like
We'll
usually
see how this
everyone
goes.
thinks they're friends with the pastor, right?
Yeah.
That's probably the other thing you run into is like everyone's like the pastor's best friend.
No, oh, absolutely. That was the first time I ever saw you live, and I'd seen videos, seen you on AGT, but the first time, and I sat on the front row with a whole row of pastor friends because it was like 7,000 Southern Baptist, pastors and spouses, and I think we each got like 15 minutes. It was real fast.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
a real
yeah, yeah.
fast endeavor. But I was grateful for that time too because you've taught me. Because I write my jokes and my humor. This is where a lot of pastors, I think, make the mistake is they write great sermons and then they're like, we're just gonna wing the humor. We're just
Yeah.
gonna kind of see how that goes, and that's why usually it's like, wah, wah. Like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, no,
And maybe a little unrelated to the message because
Exactly.
they're trying to be
yeah.
witty.
And this is when you go off track and you say things that you never intended to say, and it gets bad, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
now online, and but you the way you weave a story through everything is what most pastors we could learn from that, like how to take, the 1 point preaching idea is that I'm trying to really develop one main idea in this message through the
Yeah.
whole thing, and what ends up happening is we have an outline with 6, 7, 8 points that people leave and go, okay, what was the,
Right.
for us to learn how to do what you do with, in the case of the Southern Baptist Convention, that was foster care. So I did marriage, and then they blessed that family who had a daughter getting married, and they paid for her wedding. So that was a
Yeah,
big deal.
really cool.
Then you did what you did, and then they brought all the people up who were fostering and adopting and
Yeah.
paid for. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, and which, by the way, they didn't know who that was going to be. They're like, Dustin, just ask if anyone's
that's
planning
right.
on adopting
That's
or
right.
fostering. They're like, everyone that
Like
raises
30,
their hand.
like 30 couples came to
Yeah,
the
they
front.
were like, we're just going to bring up, and then we're just going to give them money.
right.
And I was like,
I
well, how
remember.
many is that going to
Yeah.
be? They're like, we don't know, which
And-
is so cool.
And another thing, though, is 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, so much easier than 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, a 30 to 45-minute sermon is way easier than a 15-minute
Yeah.
sermon. And so I was very inspired that day to how do I get that one main thought going
Yeah.
through an entire message, even though we're saying a lot of other things.
Yeah. No, it's good. And it's cool because I feel like since then we booked a couple things. Actually, at one point there was one time where we were like, we need to hang out. We're so busy. We should try this weekend. And you were like, wait, I have a thing this weekend. And I was like, oh wait, I do too. I don't even know
Yeah.
why we were trying this.
And we went out of the country.
We went out of the country. And then they're like, tomorrow morning, you guys are going to love it. Ted Cunningham's I'm like, are you serious? We were both busy doing the same thing. That was crazy. That was fun.
Yeah. And I didn't get to stick around for you on that time.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, I was
surprise.
gone.
That's
I'm so
nuts. So
sorry.
weird. You said
the
you've seen me
plan.
3 times. One of those times, by the way, was at his own church. Okay, so he
That
just-
was one of them. Yeah. And that was good. That was good.
But what I was gonna ask originally was, do you find yourself a lot in places with people who are because I feel like most of the spaces you find yourself in, it's faith-based spaces where you're preaching or telling jokes or whatever. But do you find yourself interacting with people fairly often who are afraid to go to church or haven't been to church for a while and who are wanting or considering, I would do this, but these are the reasons why I don't?
Yeah. So when I invite someone to our church, I can pretty much tell, their level of comfort with the haven't been in church in a while.
Yeah.
And I'd never, I mean, I'm a big stickler on, I don't invite people from other churches. I know
Yeah.
some pastors have no problem with that, but I ask, so do you go to church anywhere? It's the simplest question you can ask. And they go,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we go too. I go, great. Just want to encourage you, Easter's coming up. Make sure you're there because some people are 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
But if there's not a solid answer to that question and I invite them to our church, then I just start to share with them some of the hospitality that we offer, because the message is about probably 40 to 50 minutes after they arrive on campus.
Yeah.
So I try to paint a picture for like what they can expect on the way in the door. And at
Yeah.
our church, it's, you're going to be greeted by like 5, 6 people. Hopefully we've tried to train our people to, you can tell the person who wants a hug and you can tell the person who doesn't.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you're a real touchy person, we
Yeah.
don't need to be hugging everybody walking in.
Yeah.
And then, there's coffee, there's mints.
I was just gonna say.
I just want them to know you're gonna fit in here. That's what I love about our church is we have some people that dress up more, but you're not gonna see really suits at our church. You have people
Yeah.
that are dressed down. I try to help them understand that it's gonna be a comfortable environment for
Yeah.
you, and I love saying that because you may hear some uncomfortable things.
Yeah.
You may have to come to grips with something, and that's the number one thing they're concerned about.
Yeah,
What about
yeah.
my life is going to have to change?
Yeah.
And so we believe hospitality tells people you matter to God and you matter to us.
Yeah.
So whatever we're preaching or teaching on, whatever the message is, whatever the Holy Spirit is going to call them by name in during that gathering, they know no matter what's said, we love you, we care for you, we thought about you, we prepared for you.
Yeah.
We're putting time and energy into this. And that's why I think churches need to spend, you and I visit a lot of churches.
Yeah.
And we see some churches that put time and energy into preparing, and others that, well, we didn't give this a lot of thought. Well,
Yeah.
that communicates something from the moment
Yeah, it's true.
that you walk in. And so I try to share that before they even show up.
Yeah.
Here's kind of what you can expect.
Yeah.
Because that's how we started this time,
Yeah.
right? Is
Yeah.
healthy expectations.
No, it's great. And I think that, like, I love that you're putting thought into this, because I guess there's like a line, and this is why earlier I kind of made it a little bit in a joking way, but the people who are showing up for the first time, they've never been to church, they're kind of leery. And then you have the people who've been going to church forever, and they're
Yeah.
picking apart all of the things, right?
Yeah.
Some people who would come into some churches might feel like, man, they care about this stuff. And then I feel like there's churches where it feels like maybe there could be a line where they care too much about that stuff and
Yeah.
not about actually creating something life-changing, right?
Yeah.
And I think this speaks a lot to just your communication style, because again, like, I remember that event that we did where you were talking about marriage stuff. I remember I was like just listening and just laughing the whole time, like, this is so good. And afterwards, in a good way, I'm like, I'm like a bad husband. I need to just be better. And not like you're trying to make people feel like bad husbands, but I'm saying, like, I walked away with this, like, that was a nice way to receive the fact that there's some things I'm doing wrong, right? To deliver something so challenging while still making it fun, I
Yeah.
think it really is an art. And I don't know, maybe you don't even do it on purpose. Like, maybe
Yeah.
you don't realize.
No, I mean, it's in the notes because, Dave Ramsey taught it's supposed to be every 5 to 7 minutes that you're supposed to offer some sort of relief in the tension. And, people can debate that, but I probably go more than 5 to 7 times. Amy corrects me on this a lot, though. My wife, she'll say, there are times we need to sit in something for a little bit,
Wow.
and your personality wants to bail us out. And
Yeah.
that's the pastor's heart in you. You don't want them to feel this for too long, so then I'll just
Gotcha.
come in
Yeah.
with the and
Yeah.
and I've had several people, I've had elders tell me this, like, hey, think through your message where there's going to be a moment where conviction is going to be setting pretty heavy on the heart.
Yeah.
Don't bail us out.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
that's my temptation.
Yeah.
And it comes from the heart of a pastor. It comes from mercy,
Wow.
wanting to relieve
course.
you of something. And so I try to write that out. I'm different than you hear a lot of, homiletics classes or, preaching classes will
Yeah,
tell
I hear
you.
about homiletics all the time. You
Homiletics is a
homiletics,
preaching
don't spend
seminary.
your
Yeah.
don't spend your
Okay.
weekends.
Yeah.
I know if it was like a course on speaking in tongues, like that's the first phase is saying that word.
What?
Homiletics. I've never heard that word in my life.
So homiletics, the study of the Bible is hermeneutics, and the study of preaching is homiletics. So,
Gotcha.
but we're told you have to establish your point in the first 3 minutes. Like, people have to know, why am I here? What's the purpose of this? And where are we going with this message? I kind of do just the opposite. I view that first 3 minutes as an opportunity to connect with the congregation. And so I go more fellowship. I'll call people out by name,
Yeah,
in
cool.
a story or an illustration. You do the same thing. You're connecting with people, and I kind of go, you'll figure out where we're going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
As
yeah,
this
yeah.
goes on.
If you're listening,
you'll know where it's going, but I want you to know we care about you. I care about you. I want to get to know you. It's that old John Maxwell. He would, and he still does it. Hey, I'm John Maxwell, and I want to be friends. Like, he has
Yeah.
this real enduring way of doing that. And
Yeah.
so that's my approach more with that. But I write it out, and there are times at 8:15 I'm like, that didn't land.
yeah.
Like I'm writing a message today about, out of the lament Psalms, and how we got to keep asking God questions when we're hurting. Like, don't stop asking questions.
Yeah.
That's all the lament Psalms are. Why? How long do I have to deal with this? This pain won't go. Why are the enemies who are against you, God, why are they succeeding and prospering? And why am I the one that's going?
Yeah.
Keep asking questions.
Yeah.
And so I put in there, I started with how many questions, our kids ask us 300 questions a day, right? When your kids are small, 300 questions a day.
You're saying like as a
That's a
statistic, like
lot.
average.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So I wrote, I'm going to see how this flies on in a couple weeks, but I wrote, so there are mornings I get up and I want my wife to walk out like my press secretary and go, your dad's going to make a brief statement, but he won't be taking any questions this morning. So it worked. It was light, but I think about, so I test that. There are times I have tested jokes with Amy. Hey, I'm thinking about saying this Sunday, and I'll give her a line just like that, and she'll go, I'll let you know tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, yeah, if you got to let me know if it's
To
funny
think about if it's funny.
24 hours later, it's probably one I need to rework
Let me
or
think of
drop
that.
it all
That's funny.
together. And so I encourage people I encourage pastors to write it out, share it with a few people, get a response like we just did, and you'll know if it's flat.
Yeah.
You'll know if it's got potential and you need to work on timing.
Yeah.
This is what comedians do when they go do club work.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, Jim Gaffigan, Brian Regan, Nate Bargatze.
Yeah.
They go do 7-9 minutes here and there before they go do their 1 hour
Yeah.
special.
Well, and it's cool because you're applying these same concepts to the things that also create impact, right? So you're like, man, is this going to be something that lands with people, that connects? And what I love that you said earlier, I think, is the humility of people being able to say, Ted, like, stop bailing us out. Like, you have people in your life who are like, dude, you're a great pastor, but like there's times to let us feel uncomfortable, right? And I totally get that thing of, you know, you say a thing and you kind of feel bad because you don't ever want to be the person to tell people that they're doing stuff wrong, but at the same time, you know that the result of that is going to be good stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's that thing that I think a lot of people feel is like, most people just avoid the confrontation. I'm not good at confrontation.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my wife also is always.
And I'm always like, confrontation brings transformation. Yeah.
You both avoid conflict?
No.
She's great.
Oh, you're
she's
great.
always encouraging me.
I used
No,
to.
Ted, she's really good at conflict.
Yeah.
Ted, she is master
She's
at
had a lot of practice.
confrontation.
No, I read something like a year ago. It said confrontation brings transformation.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's loving to be obviously in love.
Yeah,
There's a way
absolutely.
to do it, but
Yeah.
I used to be bad at it, but I've been learning more.
Yeah. And you know when someone's coming at it from the heart of I want a relationship to be better, I want you to be better,
Yeah.
versus just criticism that goes nowhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that like that's the stuff though that people, when it's in you, they sense that from the stage also, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the only way you're going to get to know people anyway, is by asking the questions and letting people honestly answer what the things are in your life.
Yeah.
And as a pastor, it's like you have the blessing of getting to hear that more, but it takes the security and the thick enough skin to be able to hear it more, right? Because you're in a place where you are constantly learning communication because you're telling jokes that people aren't laughing at sometimes. You're saying a thing that someone was offended by, and then you have to ask, was this person just offended, or was what I said actually wrong in some way?
Boy.
And so you're always having to navigate, like, is this me or is this them? And then to have the humility to acknowledge when it's you, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not ever going to make everybody happy. But I think that's one of the hardest things as artists, because I think you are an artist, you are a comedian and a preacher. You create entertainment, but you're teaching within it. And so what's hard is when you feel like someone is criticizing that art because you know what went into a joke, right?
Yeah.
And so when you tell a joke and people don't laugh, it's easy to be like, guys, that was funny. Like this audience is terrible. like right? It's so hard to say that might not have been as funny as I thought it was.
Yeah.
But I think a person's ability to do that is the only thing that brings about growth, right? You have to hear what's not landing with people. And if you don't want to change it, then you're just going to have to be okay with maybe people not buying what you're selling, right?
You didn't tell me to silence myself.
Well, you didn't even know we started yet. So it's,
Oh yeah. Are we started? Did we start?
usually when you start, the people are like, okay, it's time to turn phones off. We just never said that.
Oh, okay.
So one thing that I think is funny for me in my relationship with Jesus is I feel like it's easy to like slap some spiritual jargon onto a thing, right? Where it's like, oh, Jesus still loves me, he cares, and you try and like explain your way out of doubt. So like one of the things that you were just talking about is in the when people are lamenting, right? Giving yourself permission to ask these questions. And I think sometimes when people ask questions, the frustration in asking questions biblically is that there's usually a little bit of confusion first, right? And then you break through to that next level of depth and understanding. I had something kind of with that. I had a little thing that I wanted to do for you because
I'm
we have to-
excited. All right,
Okay.
am I getting okay.
Yeah. So listen, this is. I'm just gonna let you know in advance. This is what I think is about to happen.
Okay.
This is my predetermined ideas. And if I'm relating it to what we're talking about, this is like what I bring.
You're not gonna do any of your mind stuff on me. I can tell you that. I came
He's
in
like, it's not gonna work.
so prepared. I am so prepared.
So
This is Fort Knox up here right now, buddy.
my brain is locked. So check this out. I'm gonna actually do this. You said I'm not gonna.
I am Fort Knox right now. You're not gonna.
So normally I'm gonna just be like, they show you the thing, they let you shuffle. I'm not gonna do that. I have a card in a very specific place right now, based on a decision I think that you're about to make. She's just gonna happen. You're gonna just
His face.
oh, he's trying to not let me in.
I've been waiting for this. I didn't know if this was going to happen today, but
I've been preparing my whole
this
life.
was this is my quiet time this morning, Lord.
I want you to
Today,
just praying like, Lord, if Dustin could just do a magic trick today. I've skipped every one of his shows, and I would love to just
you can
see.
keep touching the cards. It's not going to matter. To
Okay,
me.
listen.
Already
I want you to
decided.
push a card forward. Any one that you want. That one. He's going towards that. Cool. Now I am going to also give you the chance to do another one, just in case at some point you want to change your mind. I want to give you the freedom. Cool. I'm gonna put that over here with this one. And then I'm making sure I'm not changing anything.
Yep, I
and
see
then
it.
move back a little bit. I want you to do one more. So you have 3 cards that are selected. It's going all the way to the bottom this time. All right. Perfect. Now, out of these 3, you are going to choose the one that you want. Whichever one you want, we're just going to throw in the box for now because we're going to...
You want me to put it in the box?
Yeah, whichever one. Yep, don't look at it yet. I'm going to put it right in here. Okay. Now, listen. Here's the thing. You could have picked either one of these,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Instead, you picked this one.
Yeah.
I gave you this
No
in the
way.
beginning.
No.
Open that up. Hold on. Actually, I'm going to open this for you. I forgot. This is the whole thing. It says, your card will be the King of Diamonds. Your card will be the King
No.
of Diamonds. Flip it over. Perfect. Wait, I forgot there's another. Oh, wait, it was. Your card will not be the King of Diamonds. I forgot it was folded in still. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Thanks, dude. So this is how I feel sometimes as a Christian. No, but here's great. It will not be the King.
Is it over?
No,
I mean,
The trick over?
no.
Okay, I know
That's
it's
like
not.
I know
No.
Dustin.
No,
It's
it's not over. I know it's not over. I've
No.
seen it.
No, listen.
I know
Because
it's
here's what's crazy. If you would have picked this one,
Yeah.
you actually would have picked the King of Diamonds. If you would have picked this one here, you would have picked the King of Diamonds. It's crazy. Actually, if you would have picked any of these ones up here, you would have picked the King of
Get
Diamonds.
out of here.
This one would have been the King. Actually, if you would have picked any of these, you
Get
would have picked.
out of here. That is fun. I knew the trick wasn't over. Like, I don't even know if the podcast is on yet.
He still didn't even know we started
Yeah,
the
it
podcast.
is.
And this, here, that's for you to keep as a souvenir.
And that's
You should put on your helmet of salvation.
You put up like Fort Knox, but you forgot to put on your helmet of salvation. bro.
Oh, man. That's unbelievable. I thought I'm going to go. I almost went with the top card.
See?
I almost went with
But
the
you
top
didn't.
card.
And you
I
didn't
did
pick
not.
the King of Diamonds.
Man. I
"No,
knew it. I thought
let it
I will
in."
be the one to break him today. I will break him. I will make him question his calling in life. Nope. Unsuccessful.
So as silly as this does sound, I don't know why, but this trick I do feel like demonstrates so much of Christianity for me at times, where it's like you're expecting a thing, doesn't happen the way you thought, kind of explain your way out of it to convince yourself that it's okay, which feels almost more like an excuse because you're not willing to wait. But when you continue to wait, you continue to discover, you continue to unveil things and reveal things, you start to realize this was amazing all along. It just didn't happen the way that I thought it was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like this has been so much of my walk with God, so much of my relationship with Jesus, where it's like I'm so proud to believe. Then a thing happens, maybe somebody passes away, or we end up losing a job, or we had a miscarriage at one point and it was super difficult, or times when we thought something was going to happen and a door closes that we were excited about. And I think it's easy to do the Christian thing of like, oh, it's okay, like the Lord, like we just recite the spiritual stuff, but to truly wait on God and to truly like allow yourself to ask those questions, but not only to ask them, because I think a lot of people ask questions. I think the big thing is then giving yourself permission to wait on the answers to those questions and to be okay with those answers being maybe a little different from you expected. And this is why I know it sounds silly and I'm not trying to over spiritualize this, but I really do feel like this so many times, that the moments when I wait and God's like, listen, dude, you thought I was gonna do this, but look, this was this thing and this was this and all these were this, and you're like, oh my gosh, God, you led me exactly where I needed to be. The things that we've learned, the people that we've encountered, it's so beautiful. And I mean, maybe that's not maybe you weren't alluding to this card trick, but when you say things like this of people being able to ask these questions and wrestle through the hard stuff with God, I really do think it's important. And I think sometimes our biggest encouragement to people is like, man, if you're struggling, just say it, man.
Yeah.
And if you have a question like, God, how could you let this happen? Ask him.
Yeah.
Ask a pastor, ask your friends, lean into the people who care, because I think that's where growth and freedom and breakthrough really does come
Yeah.
from, is waiting on the Lord to reveal the King of Diamonds. When
I
you think
love
you're
it.
like, I'm not letting you in, Jesus. And then all of a sudden,
Well, that's not what I was saying.
I'm
I
just
was
kidding.
saying I'm not letting you in.
Yeah.
Well, I was Jesus in this situation. In this
Oh.
analogy, you're obviously on a lot of stages. Do you do a lot of smaller group discipleship stuff? Because I know a lot of pastors who are really big on like, I want to be in everybody's houses in my church, right? And then there's some pastors who are like, I want to train up staff who can be in the houses of the people. And I think both are valuable in their own way.
Yeah. I mean, so like this morning, I met with a group of guys. My passion is right now going toward knowing I will not be the senior pastor forever.
Yeah.
And who's the next guy? Who's going to take it?
Yeah.
Lord, I want to be a part of that journey too. I don't want to be the guy that just leaves and hey, good luck. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to watch, as one pastor said, you move from being the dad to the grandpa of the church.
Yeah.
What do grandpas do? They just
Yeah.
hang out with the kids. They
Yeah.
The fun stuff.
tell jokes. They do
Yeah.
the fun stuff. And,
Yeah,
but they're there. I hope to always be a part of our church. I love our community. I love how small our community is. I love the size of our church. I mean, I think all of that gives us opportunity to minister to a group. There's no expectation at our church for me to, one-on-one disciple or minister every single person that comes through.
Yeah.
We have so many people,
Yeah.
walking with the Lord and walking that out in their everyday lives as far
Yeah.
as discipleship goes. And that part, that excites me. And that's what, to me, is we've been laughing together and having fun together. The reason I love the hospitality of the church and the humor that comes with that is because in the word hospitality is the word hospital, which is where we get our word for healing.
Oh, wow.
And
that's cool.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what every time you go to church it should be, no matter what difficult news you get.
Yeah.
You this is a place where we provide healing.
Yeah.
And so
Man,
that's why I'm passionate about it.
I never thought about that, but it is crazy because we've been in an interesting season, and we just went and did a thing with a church recently, and it's crazy because I don't usually pay attention to hospitality stuff because I'm just always on 100. But this time around, I was like, dude, the hospitality of this church is like next level.
Yeah.
And it's funny because since I kept trying to like pinpoint with Carrie, like, what is this? For some reason, this like really stood out, and I feel so like seen and encouraged and loved and healed, really. And it's crazy as you're saying that like to create a space intentionally where people can feel seen because you understand their needs. There is something healing about that. I'd never heard that before, that the word hospital is, in the word hospitality. And it makes me want to be that much more intentional. I told her, I was like, because I mean, she's the one that people come, she's like, we got to have clean towels and sheets, and I want to do this, I got to clean the house. And I'm the one that I'm like, hey, just so you know, if people are coming over in 5 minutes, they're going to be here for the weekend.
I'm like,
I
Well,
think
are you
that's all
serious?
men.
Both is hospitality. That's spontaneity. It's refreshing to know the
Yeah.
door is open.
Yeah.
But I also honor the ones that, like, my wife has the spiritual gift of hospitality.
Oh,
so
cool.
like she is always thinking about how comfortable do you feel in our home? How
Yeah.
comfortable do you feel in our church?
Yeah.
Do you know how much you matter to us? I mean, she thinks about that far more
It's a
than
woman thing.
even I. And it is a woman
It
thing.
is.
It really is. I mean,
100%.
she wants you leaving our house, thinking I matter to God and I matter to them. And
Wow.
if you were to come over to our house tomorrow and be walking out the door, my very first thought wouldn't be, Dustin, I hope you know you matter. I mean, that wouldn't be, it wouldn't be pouring out of me, but it's in there. But it's
Right,
just
right.
her. It's instinctual for
Yeah,
her. She just
that's
is
cool.
passionate about
Yeah.
it. And so, and that, this is why I remember when Dan Cathy once told me at an event, why do I feel the way I feel at Chick-fil-A? Like, why do I? And we get our word restaurant from the word that means to restore. And he says,
Are you just going to keep blowing
Okay.
our minds with
No,
all these
listen,
this whole time?
listen. Well, he goes, we get that word restaurant from the meaning is restore. So a good meal should restore you 70% here, 30% here. He said, unless you're a teenager, then that's flipped. But he said,
Yeah.
when you go to someone's house to eat, it's more about what's going on
Wow.
here
Yeah.
and what you prepared. And it can be a simple meal,
Yeah.
but it says you matter. Our table is open to you.
Wow.
And you're doing healing work here, restoring work here. And so
Yeah.
think about all the times you read in Scripture, Jesus reclining at the table,
Yeah.
right? And all the times that's why we're passionate about the family table. We're passionate about it at the church,
Yeah.
you know.
So cool, man. I love it. And I do just super appreciate you, bro. And I hope you realize how grateful I am.
And I can declare you have become a dear friend.
Yes.
So yes, and that's a legitimate
Yes!
dear friend.
It worked.
I will put this in a frame and put this on my wall. This is the first trick you've done for me.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Oh, wait. So there's two things I want to say. Well, first I was going to say.
Is there more to this trick?
No. There was a
this
trick
trick over?
There was a trick I was going to do for
Okay,
you.
okay.
And the people at your church were like, listen,
Oh,
Ted's very
I've heard
humble.
this
He doesn't
story.
really want a lot of
I
attention.
didn't want my
So-
picture on a poster.
Right. Yeah. So I did it to somebody else. But the somebody else that I did it to was the worship leader, Matt Gum,
Yeah.
who is also a comedian. Like,
Yeah.
how do you have a church where the pastor and the worship leader are both comedians? This makes no sense.
Yeah. And Matt is probably one of the best sketch comedians. You
Yeah,
know,
man,
I've met.
yes.
He's not a stand-up comic. He's a sketch comedian.
Yeah.
And just watching Matt walk into a room, it's like you didn't even mean to be funny walking in right there, but just the way
That's a compliment.
it is a major compliment. The
Yeah.
way God wired him.
No, it's true, man. And I always say too, Matt is probably, and I don't say this lightly, I would say I would say one of the most talented, for sure, people that I've ever met.
Yeah.
Like, the dude is doing everything, like literally
Yeah.
all the things. And I'm like, I'm so angry that he exists because I'm trying to be that guy.
Yeah, my daughter sent me. Matt was just in Louisiana at a church doing his whole one-man act, and he goes, "Dad, can you imagine Matt doing Michael Jackson at a Baptist church?" She said, "He's doing it. We're watching it."
That's
funny.
But his Michael Jackson is
It's
actually
unbelievable.
great.
It's unbelievable.
Like it's just every part of the show I'm like, oh my god, I actually spent a lot of time not laughing during his show because I'm just like,
Yeah.
how do you think of that? How is he doing?
Yeah.
And my favorite one is Tom Jones, which I just told Carrie when I have a birthday party, and all I want for my birthday is for him to do Tom Jones in my
No.
living room for my friends.
And he will. He will.
And Dustin's birthday will probably be a little bit more hospitable than my surprise birthday.
With his
He put
chips
in a measuring bowl
and a
cup,
pot.
And a
and
pot.
a pot.
I needed to put in something, and it was the right size.
And by surprise party, do you mean he thought about it an hour before the party?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this was me putting a lot of time and effort into this. Like,
It was
A lot of
sweet.
thought.
I wish it would have just been like, oh, quick.
Yeah.
But no, this was me like, oh man, okay, we got these
got it.
chips. I need something that's just the right size. Oh, this pot. Because it was the right size.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be a great gift for her birthday. I'm like,
Well, I actually didn't find out. I found out about it. He knew that it was not a surprise anymore. And
because she took, okay, yep, that's her
another
fault.
thing.
That's a whole nother story.
But I was picking up stuff at the grocery store because I'm like, wait, you're doing hot dogs and hamburgers. There's no ketchup. There's no mustard. There's no toppings. What are
She
you gonna do?
secretly helped plan her own surprise.
I'm like, what are you offering?
He's so
everyone?
disappointed in me. He's like, I'm taking back everything I said
you
about
won't
you.
ever be over hospitality at the church. I can tell you that.
Oh,
Stick with
man.
your gift.
Yeah. For real.
Beautiful. Cool. Well, no, you have to go. Thanks, man.
Hey, thanks for
And
having
that's how we end. We'll probably end it stick to your gift, and that's the.
Oh, we got
me. Okay, good. Because now I can.
laser fact, laser.
Oh,
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
he hasn't
Marriage,
experienced the
love
laser.
advice.
Is there anything you'd love to leave Ted with? A joke, love advice,
I think
a
love advice.
fact.
Love
this
advice.
week.
So
Yeah.
listen, Ted does marriage ministries
Oh,
and could probably
yeah.
afford
No,
some
yeah,
extra
You
tip.
gotta be married.
And please no story about how a husband killed his wife.
Or like a
and-
youth-
Nothing crazy.
or like a youth group.
No one
and
can die in what you're about to
kid
tell.
killing the kid can't
Oh.
kill the parents.
I do have another youth story.
Another what?
Another youth
Another
story.
one.
No.
Okay, they were in the middle of praise and worship time at a church, and so they had all these people at the altar, and it was time to do the altar call and all this. So a kid came down. The lady brought the kid over to the youth minister, and he told the youth minister, he says, "I really, really, really got to go to the bathroom." So youth minister stood outside, and the kid was in there for like 30 minutes in the bathroom. And so the kid came out, and all these people that were up front were outside of the thing. and they were cheering him on because he thought he got saved.
Oh no.
But he actually only went to the bathroom. And the kid had no idea what was going on.
He left sinful and relieved.
Oh man, did I ever tell you my most embarrassing moment? And it's subtle, but I've shared it now. We had a brand new guy at our church visiting, probably in his mid 60s, and he sits 2 seats from the end. I usually sit on that one seat. I don't sit there much anymore. People are usually in it, but I bring down a cup of coffee almost every service, set it in that cup holder. And so I was walking down, it was the last service, and he was sitting there. And I walked down, and I grabbed the cup from the cup holder, and I put mine in there, and I took his, and I threw it up in my garbage can. I thought it was mine from the last service. Because it's usually mine sitting in there that I never come back down after I preach. And all this
That
brand
is
new guy at our
funny.
church thinks is the pastor just came down, threw my coffee away to make room for his. And I sat there. We sit down, and the guy looks at me and he goes, "Do you think I could get my cup of coffee?" And I went, "Oh my God." I said, and I had to explain to him.
He asked for it back. Like, do you think you could go get out of the trash?
Well, it might have like a little trash receptacle that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
not like a big garbage can.
Yeah.
Up there on the other side of the stage, and I grabbed it. I go, "Sir, you need to understand. I thought that was my coffee. I did not." Talk about hospitality. Get your,
It's funny,
get your
just
cup
just
out
going
of my
back,
way.
going back to the beginning of this when you talk about the people in the parking lot. Now you're the guy doing the thing to the first time.
Serving coffee out of a garbage can.
Yeah, someone else saw you pull a coffee out of a garbage can and give it to some dude.
There's so many stories.